Alright, I've watched the first 3 episodes of The Acolyte, and I've got some thoughts, to say the least. For starters, I'm not a Star Wars fanboy. I've actually never even seen any of the Star Wars movies besides The Force Awakens, so I'm going into this with some fresh eyes without any bias. So, that's my perspective. I won't be comparing this series to previous Star Wars iterations or anything like that. I'm just going to judge it as its own standalone show. Also, before going into this, I'll pretty much be spoiling all of the plot as we go over my thoughts, so you've been warned. Alright, let's dive in. Episode 1. In Episode 1, the show starts up, and the first thing I notice is an insane amount of CGI. I'm sick of shows overusing CGI in place of physical sets and props. Nothing looks real. I can particularly see the green screen in almost every shot. So no, not the best start. So we see a mysterious woman going after a Jedi, and when she finds her in a bar, she does this goofy ass pose, and she does not stop doing it. She's trying to be threatening while doing this shit, and I can't take it serious. I mean, really, what is that? What the hell is that? As soon as I saw that she was walking into a bar, I knew we were gonna get a cliche lone woman takes on the entire bar to show how tough she is seen. And you know what? I was right. That's exactly what we get. The fight happens, and she gets the Jedi alone, and they start tussling some more. At this point, I'm livid, because the Jedi switches between using hand-to-hand combat and the Force. She's fighting someone who has a knife. Why in God's name would the Jedi switch from the Force to hand combat when hand combat against someone with a knife is going to be significantly more dangerous than just using the Force the whole entire time? She could have just even used the Force to pull the knife out of her hand and attacked her hand-to-hand after that. But she never does. Quick sidebar. Around this point, I noticed the music is really generic as hell. It adds nothing to the show, and that's kind of a bummer, but whatever. Of course, the Jedi gets distracted and takes a knife to the goddamn chest and just instantly dies right there on the spot. There is barely any blood at all, which means it clearly didn't hit her in the heart, so she wouldn't be dead that goddamn quick from one single stab wound. What the hell? After all this, what looks like the same girl wakes up in space and goes out to repair the ship. It looks like absolute trash. There's no other way to put it. It looks like they're in front of the cheapest green screen possible. It doesn't feel like they're in space in the slightest. Even if I squint, it doesn't. You gotta be kidding me. Disney's budget for these shows should have the best visual effects in the world. $22 million per episode is spent on this show, and it looks like this. All the exterior shots of the ship also look horrendous. They're so heavily doused in CG, it's gross. I really think they should have just used miniature models like the OG movies did, and it would have looked 10 times better. The Jedi Council hears there's been a Jedi murder and discuss what to do about it. I actually think Saul is a pretty good actor and pretty good character, and when he came on the screen, it was the first time I was pulled into the show even for a second. They believe that Osha, the girl from the ship, killed a Jedi. Yord, some Jedi Knight who turns out to be kind of a himbo, was sent to find her, and when he does, Osha denies being the killer. I have to say it, since she's such a major character, if not the main character, I don't really buy Osha's line delivery. No diss to the actress, but I just can't take anything she says seriously. It's not good. Believing she's the killer, they throw Osha on a prison ship that is fully piloted by robots, but then they don't get on the ship with her for some reason. They just lock her up with other prisoners and leave them alone with droids. It seems like kind of an open invitation for the prisoners to rally together and escape, but okay. Surprise, surprise, the totally unsupervised prisoners decide to hack the droids, take the escape pods, and leave Osha behind to die in the falling ship. The scene created a great opportunity for her to solve the problem with quick thinking to show how smart she is and why she would be someone to root for. Is she going to somehow take over the ship manually and begin piloting herself? Will she escape somehow without a pod? Actually, no. Instead, she buckles up as the ship is crashing and hopes for the best. Kind of a wasted opportunity there for her to have done something cool, but alright, whatever. The entire time the ship is falling, the thing is flipping and catching on fire and shit, and you're wondering how the hell is she gonna survive this? But when it actually hits the ground, it falls so gently and flat that it's comedic. It looks like someone lightly tossed it onto the ground from 10 feet above. Osha then has a flashback to her sister sister back on her home planet. We see that her home planet was burnt to a crisp with everyone presumed dead, but it's unclear who did it. Osha then wakes up and she is not buckled into her seat. Somehow, the ship is absolutely wrecked. She doesn't have one single tiny scrape on her though. If you're falling from space and your impact was so hard that your seat and seatbelt completely disappeared, you would at least have some broken bones. It's honestly too stupid to put in the words. The Jedi have gotten word of the prison ship crashing and all the prisoners escaping, but Osha is presumed dead because how could anyone have survived that crash? But Sol goes out to find the prison ship to try to find her anyway because he can sense that she is still alive. Impressive insight from Sol there. Would be cool, except his sensing powers turn out to be complete bullshit because he later says for certain that May, Osha's twin sister, is guaranteed dead, but she's found to be alive and living. So yeah, what the hell? Guess he just had a lucky guess the first time. Sol and Yord find Osha alive and she tells them she's innocent and being wrongfully blamed for the Jedi murder. Sol believes her and then also instantly believes her when she says May, her twin sister, is still alive. So to be fair, I kind of think the twin murdering people and framing you for it is kind of a cool idea. That's honestly one of the only positives I could give to this episode. They take Osha back to the ship and then head out to find May, and the episode comes to a close. So was it terrible? Well, I can't say it was great TV. I can't even say it was good TV. But honestly, I was entertained the entire episode. The CGI costumes and effects may have been trash, but I was excited to see what would happen next. And I was able to laugh at it and not take it too seriously the entire time, which honestly made it more enjoyable and fun, like a nice cheesy B movie. I think if you look at it that way, you'll have a much better time. So far, I'd say an overall decent start. Let's get into the next episode. Episode 2. Okay, here we go. So the episode starts with May trying to kill another Jedi, and she's back at it again with her old tricks. She busts out the goddamn pose from the first episode, and I just can't believe it's back. Ridiculous. She can't break the Jedi's force field and runs off like a pussy. Interesting move for the antagonist we're supposed to feel threatened by. She goes to a shop and her criminal friend makes her some poison for the Jedi to try to kill him that way instead. Meanwhile, Yord is acting like an asshole on the ship, asking Sol if they could chain up Osha because he still believes she's the killer. Nothing I hate more than a pussy-ass bitch, you know? Come on. So I'll be honest with you guys. Things get a bit blurry at this point because it becomes a snooze fest that simply couldn't hold my attention. Somehow, the Jedi find the shop and intimidate the man into giving May up. They camp around the shop and wait for her to come back, and when she comes back, they fight her, they chase her, and they let her get away. That short amount of plot took like 25 minutes of screen time to happen. I just was not into it. There were extended action sequences that should have been cool, but honestly, they just bored the hell out of me. They all go back to find the Jedi once May escapes, but it's too late. May convinces the Jedi to drink the poison willingly, and he says he's sorry and that the Jedi thought they were doing the right thing. It's revealed that May wants to kill 4 Jedi and has to do one of them without a weapon. Of course, Osha finds the body at just the wrong time and everyone accuses her of murdering again. Oh no. But Yord vouches for her and says he was already dead when they got there, so she can't be the killer. Yord's character flip from being a pussy-ass bitch to standing up for Osha was so quick and unearned that it's almost insulting. It seems to be understood at this point that May actually killed everyone else from Osha's family. I don't know if I missed something, I refuse to rewatch it, but I don't see why May being alive instantly means she killed Osha's entire family. Like, what a conclusion to jump to, what the hell. Like I said, a lot of stuff happened, but I couldn't care less about it. Bored to the point that I couldn't even make fun of it anymore. For that reason alone, I'd say this was a pretty big step down from episode 1. Oh well, time to move on to episode 3. Alright, so as soon as the episode started, I was instantly pissed off. It's a flashback episode of the fire from Osha and May's home planet. I hate when shows do this, especially this early on into the series, because it takes away any sort of remaining mystery or intrigue from the story. If they didn't tell us directly what happened, we would still be guessing. Is May lying? Is Osha lying? What actually happened? And And in my opinion, that would have been much more interesting than just being told outright what happened. This should have been left open-ended and unanswered for a bit longer so we could form our own theories and get to choose a side for ourselves. It also should have been earned. There should have been way more beef between the twin sisters before their full backstory was revealed. And another problem with doing a flashback in time like this, the child versions of May and Osha. No offense, seriously, they're kids and they can't help it, but damn, I'm not buying it, man. It's child acting in its purest form. Even the way they keep punching each other is so unnatural. Oh my god, I truly hate it. May finds Osha chilling near a tree, and it's revealed that this is the spot where Osha always runs away to and where May always goes to find her. Next, they're seen hanging out with their two mothers. For some reason, someone questions who their father is, and they casually drop that one of the mothers used the Force to impregnate the other mother. It's a super quick line, but it's still it's a ridiculous idea. I can't believe that's what they're actually going with. It would have been better to just leave it a mystery, to be honest. I mean, in a world of sci-fi, does it even really need explaining? And that's the explanation they go with? Just bizarre, man. Everyone keeps hyping up this ceremony called the Ascension. The twins have to go through it tonight, and Osha doesn't want to do it, but May is very excited to do it. They keep bringing it up before it happens, and at this point, I'm curious what the hell it's going to be. Turns out, it's just the women standing in a circle singing this weird-ass song. Imagine this with no background sound. Like, seriously, what the hell is this? I can't even believe this is considered Star Wars. This is getting so bad. May has the Ascension done to her, but before Osha can complete hers, they're interrupted by 4 Jedi suddenly breaking in. One of them is Young Soul, and he's pretty good, I guess. Again, he's probably the best actor, and anytime he's on screen, I'm a little more pulled in compared to the other scenes without him, even when it's a younger version of him. They say they want to put the kids through a test, and if they pass the test, they'll go off to Jedi training. The witches are pissed and tell them they are not allowed to test the twins, but Osha says she really wants to do it. The witches try to convince the twins to fail on purpose so they don't have to leave the Coven of Witches, which is extremely goddamn selfish. They're all adults. They should just grow up. But Osha decides not to fail and passes instead. I was hyped to see these dope-ass Jedi tests and what they could even be, but it was barely even a test at all, and I felt I was totally ripped off. Osha tells her mom she wants to go be a Jedi, even if it means leaving home forever and never seeing her family again, because she feels like it's what she was born to do. The main mother says okay, and that it's Osha's life and she should make the choices she wants to make. It's kind of a nice moment. With her mom's blessing, Osha goes off to pack. As she's packing, May creeps up and locks Osha in her room. She starts a fire and tries to kill her goddamn sister. Osha manages to escape with Young Soul's help, but all of the Coven die in the fire, even their moms. May sees Osha leaving, and suddenly the platform May is standing on collapses, leaving her presumably dead. Osha passes out and later wakes up on the ship with the Jedi, who tell her that May killed everyone she's ever known and loved. They think May is dead too, but we see May waiting for Osha by the tree from the beginning of the episode. I get it's supposed to be a depressing and cute moment that May is waiting for her sister by the tree, but she tried to fucking burn her alive. She tried to actively kill her. So why would Osha come back to the tree meeting spot to look for her? It makes no sense at all. The episode ends there and we're finally set free for another week. So far, I honestly think the show is not as bad as everyone is saying. I heard so many different things about the show being too gay, and I feel like that's a silly complaint. The gay parents are barely even shown. They have like 2 lines about being gay, and that's all. I do admit it's funny that the only white male character was a prisoner. But all things considered, I think the show has some very mild entertainment value. I will stick with it until the end. It's not offensively bad. But keep in mind, this is coming from someone who has never watched Star Wars. I'm sure Star Wars fans have a lot of issues that I simply don't care about due to not knowing all of the lore. Still, the show has bad acting, bad sets, bad CGI, and was mostly only entertaining in a laugh at it, not with it kind of way. I guess I wouldn't recommend watching it unless you're extremely bored. Then hey, give it a shot. I'll be back with the following episodes as they release. All right, thanks for listening.